when I saw this morning, you say, okay, can we verify this, that this is for real?
This one is pretty much verifiable that this is happening. They pretty much confirmed it in this conference. At least the conversations happened.
It's being reported right now that the Biden administration reached out to Russia about using Russian bases in the Central Asian nations bordering Afghanistan to the north for our strike assets to fly out of for the over-the-horizon counterterrorism missions. Is that true?
Senator, this is an issue that I believe came up during a conversation that the president had with President Putin, where President Putin offered to provide assistance.
But have you reached out to the Russians asking specifically to use bases?
General Milley just recently had a conversation with his Russian counterpart.
So the reports are true that have been coming out today?
I can assure you that we are not seeking Russia's permission to do anything. But I believe, and General Milley can speak for himself, but I believe that he asked for clarification on what that offer was.
To me, Rick, you were the director of national intelligence. This is insanity.
We wouldn't have even tried to have a conversation with the Russians about joining them on their base with U.S. military to do something in Afghanistan, anything. It's absurd. It's also an admission, let's be very clear. It's an admission that we didn't know that it would be so bad. The U.S. military leadership, the political leadership, did not know that it would be so chaotic closing Bagram that they were scrambling to figure out, okay, who's still there and who can we join? And it's just a signal that the political leadership at the Pentagon and at the White House have really messed this up.
Now, what makes this so unique is also at the very same time we find out that General Milley is not really consulted until after the fall of Kabul in Afghanistan. But we were considering using Russian bases. Take a listen to this exchange.
Joe Biden has said that it was the unanimous recommendation of the Joint Chiefs that we not maintain a military presence beyond August 31st. We've heard testimony to that effect today as well. When was that unanimous recommendation sought and presented to the president?
You're talking about the 31 August?
Yes, the 31 August deadline for getting out of the airport.
So on 25 August, I was asked to make an assessment and provide best military advice on...
I'm sorry, my time is limited here.
Okay.
You gave me the answer that I needed to hear. August 25th?
That's correct.
Kabul fell on August 15th.
That's correct.
You were not asked before August 25th?
16th. On August 25th, I was asked to provide best military assessment as whether we should keep military forces past the 31st.
This to me is incredible. So Wes, Colonel Smith, what in the world were they thinking?
Joe Biden was not interested in the advice of his military commanders. He is continually, marching to his own orders. He's been, as we've talked about on this show before, wrong on so many issues down through his 40 years in D.C. But Kabul falls on the 15th of August, and then on the 25th, Biden asked for his general's best military advice on keeping troops there, which what that means, Jay, is his...
After Kabul's fallen.
Yeah. His seeking military advice was purely perfunctory. He was not interested in the military advice. He'd already made a decision. That train had left the station. This absolutely was meaningless at that point.
Just a short list of what we've learned today, Jay. I mean, we know now that the military knew that the Taliban was this big of a threat and that they might take over this quickly and that they told the president of the United States this, and he made that decision anyway. We know that the generals thought that the drawdown this quickly was a mistake, that they told the president that. And Jay, the point that you're alluding to, Senator Kaine is insisting that he get a direct answer this afternoon from the generals of their best assessment of how many Americans are left in Afghanistan. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Jay, you and I had a conversation. I said, there's a staff member in the room that has that number. They just don't want to give it to Congress. There was an exchange today where Senator Kaine said that, and he said, if you don't tell me this afternoon, there's going to be a price to pay.
I'm thinking about this whole discussion. I can't even put myself in that room. I mean, a conversation with Putin and Biden makes sense. They're both presidents, heads of state. But the conversation that they're having is the utilization of Russian military bases for U.S. troops. so we could conduct counterinsurgency and counterterrorism activities inside Afghanistan that we let fall apart?
Keep in mind that several years ago, Congress passed a law that forbids direct cooperation between the Russian military and the U.S. military unless the Secretary of Defense gives a waiver, because there are risks involved in that, including, as you alluded to, Jay, when we put U.S. technology and weapons and our most sensitive communications equipment on a Russian base, we put ourselves at risk. This is absolutely crazy.
It didn't just stop at the level of the president and the vice president, some general, discussions. It ends up that General Milley is evidently instructed to talk to his Russian counterpart about the feasibility of this actually happening.
This conversation about putting our troops on a Russian military base came after President Putin told Biden that he would not allow us to put it on bases in the Central Asian countries. See, what's going on? Russia has bases in those countries, and then we have some assets. We've given those countries billions of dollars. So when we talk about over-the-horizon capabilities, Putin says, no, you can't go in and put a new base for the CIA or the military in the stands, as we call them, but I will allow you to put them on our bases in the stands, to which the president says, not a bad idea. I mean, he's really being pressured and acquiescing to one of our adversaries.
Could you imagine if President Trump would have had these conversations with Vladimir Putin, what the reaction of the left would have been? I mean, just think about that for a moment. Russian collusion? Collusion? How about, that's not collusion. That's like Russian partnership.